Hey there, everybody. Welcome. It is a Friday. Do you remember that Rebecca Black lady in that Friday song, Dustin Kava?
Oh,
Friday,
do I?
Friday. Do you remember that? Apparently, welcome, by the way, because cannabis every single Friday, 4:20 p.m., Wayward Media. Apparently, Rebecca Black, right? And this is mid-October, early October 2022. In 2022, Rebecca Black, who was once kind of like this teenage, I think she hired like a music producer, guy who like made like videos for rich teenage girls to kind of do their thing, right? And so now she is like this EDM, like dominatrix personality, like rolling this whole like rave scene kind of underground EDM, including a version of Friday. She's all in. She owns it.
I did not know that. I did not know that. I cannot wait. I think I'm ready for my weekend now.
Yeah, we're ready for the weekend. That's what this show does. It gets you ready for the weekend. And if you didn't know it, now you're going to be bopping around Rebecca Black all up in your head this weekend, doing the Friday song. Yeah, go check out her new groove. This is Zero. I wish we should get Rebecca Black. I think Rebecca Black smokes weed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Especially
who doesn't?
With her foot on some dude's head, you know?
Wow. Yeah, that's all in. That's how players roll. That's what you do at the Hush Party at MJ BizCon 2022. I don't know if Patrick Grenier from preroller.com is going to be at the Hush House at MJ BizCon 2022. I'm not going to be. You're not going to be, Dustin Kava. Did you know they had high roller events? I know in our last show, Patrick invited your boys here to MJ BizCon 2022. I don't know if we can make it. I wish we could. It would be awesome.
Man, I mean, me and Anthony with Trav Media Group, we film all the high roller parties out there. So that's
welcome to Hush House. Hey, if you can't get into Hush House with a ticket, you can get into Hush House working it. Maybe that's the way to go.
That's exactly the way to go.
I don't know if I want to go to VIP events. This is because cannabis every single Friday, 4:20 p.m. Wayward Media, wayward.media. Hopefully by now you have been enthralled and you're already laughing on the floor, rolling on the floor, laughing right now. Maybe because you're high, maybe because Dustin's hilarious, and you have subscribed to the channel because you want to catch the latest shows. You want to find out who our latest guests are. Today, Dustin, we're starting on up. Stop me up. I think that's just enough, probably not get us dinged by YouTube's copyright infringement. No one's going to mistake me for Mick Jagger, though. Stop me up. I'm going to do it like 3 times. We got a little start me up kind of fellas on the show today. I'm excited. Are you excited?
You know, startups are my jam. You know that this is where it's at for me. So I'm actually, they're already here. Yes, this
gentlemen.
is the move.
Mason Scott, we got Christian Palumbo. We'll let you guys introduce yourselves in a second. Organic Botanic, right? Our president, our vice president, Organic Botanic, Mason Scott, Christian Palumbo. Shop organicbotanic.com. That's the website we can go find them. Shop organicbotanic.com. High quality CBD, Delta 8 hemp derived products. Gentlemen, do you like going to like the after parties and things? We just had last weekend like a fun kind of event thing, do some networking. When you get to go to these fancy parties, like the high end one, are you still a wallflower or either one of you like just strutting in the dance floor all up in there?
I mean, if I get a few in me, I'm getting lit. I'm having a good time. I'm like,
Mason Scott is a life of the party.
Like,
I'm always a wallflower. No matter how drunk I am, doesn't matter.
I find that to be 100% how I would picture it in my head. Dustin, before you met Mason Scott and Christian Palumbo from Organic Botanic, now that they've kind of said who would be the more outgoing, who would be the wallflower, are you shocked by this news at all?
No. I think, especially to me in a startup, that's the type of dynamic that a startup needs. And I think that duality there is what actually progresses a company. And so no, I remember myself being out at those parties and I remember being awkward, but also knowing that I'm the only one at this thing. I have to do it all. I have to make sure that I'm, getting the contacts and at the same point, smoking my shit and enjoying myself.
Right. So you definitely have to, I'd say you definitely have to put yourself out there in a situation or an environment like that, because it's like, especially if you're trying to network with other people, a lot of us are there for like the same reason. So it can make it a lot easier. And then cannabis brings people together. So you bring out a little bit of cannabis and then that can start up a whole nother conversation.
Going down the rabbit, falling in the potholes.
So
It truly is. And especially when there's that many different people in one space, it's like really, it's a rarity to have that much dynamic and understanding across the whole country in one spot that with just as easy as, hey, how are you? What do you do? And it's just like,
Right.
holy shit, this is, a whole region of information now.
Right.
I have to tell you, I think I do way better networking. Like, so during the trade show itself, I think I'm more comfortable in that environment, going booth to booth, doing the whole baby kissing, handshaking thing or whatever, whichever way that goes. Don't kiss your babies. Don't kiss strangers' babies. Doing that whole thing, right? Like, I think I am better in that than I am in the like mixer environment. Somehow when it gets to the after party, that's when I realize I'm not as cool as I am like on the trade show floor. So for some reason, my confidence level, we're getting deep in here. My confidence level drops a little bit in the networking event, like where the booze is out and cool people are being cool. But in the trade show, that's my jam. Like I work the floor really well, but I get a little more like regressed. I don't know. Do you guys feel it? Is it just me? Like, I don't know. It should be the opposite.
So me personally, I mean, like I said, I mean, I got the weed necklace. So like everywhere I go, like people will be like, oh, I like your necklace. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And then they're like, oh, what do you do for work? So I kind of can like network like that. So I don't even need to be at like an after party per se or something. Like I could just be like grabbing a bite to eat or going to buy some clothes or just doing whatever, just to strike up those conversations just because somebody notices like something I'm like wearing, just like a cannabis leaf on my neck. So it's like, I don't know.
I have to interject real quick.
Crazy.
What do you guys feel like, all three of you? Because I know all three of you have had this now, and I'll tell you mine. When someone asks you what you do, and like, because they say they see the weed leaf, right? Or I have a shirt that says cannabis, and they're like, "Oh, hey man, that's cool. You like smoke cannabis? What do you do?" And then you say, "I work in the industry," or you say, "I process it and grow it," and then they're like, "What?" Like it just kind of every time I say it, they stop for a second, being like, really? Like, yeah, like it's a job, but it's an interesting thing when you not just start the conversation with a random person, but you actually say, I work in it and this is what I do. And for some reason, it just blows their mind.
Yeah, no, it actually, it does. They're like, oh, wow, that's so cool. And then like 9 times out of 10, I'll have like a business card on me because I have my wallet because I'm buying something, or I'm like I said, I'm getting food or I'm going to buy clothes. So I just give them my business card. They'll go to our site and then you can sign right up for the newsletter. And then that's how people get notified, like when we drop new products, when we're running sales, stuff like that.
I'm so proud of you for even mentioning like email marketing is deemed as like this old breed. It's like without the social networks that you get and without like you truly have a voice to the people directly that it matters to. And in your industry, highly regulated, like I'm proud of you guys for being forward on that. It sounds like a simple thing, but you'd be amazed at how many we work with that just doesn't that.
Right. No, like it's like literally for anything else you could do. Like, for example, before I started the business, I used to sell shoes. I worked at in the women's shoe department at Dillard's. So I would sell like high heels, boots, stuff like that. So you apply marketing, right? You're learning a product and then you're selling it, right?
Mm-hmm. That is awesome. That's a humble beginning. I
hated it. It was terrible.
I was gonna say, what is kind of your origin story? Like, I'm curious. Like, how'd you guys meet? Obviously, you're selling women's shoes. I don't know what you're into, Christian. Like, give us some background before we get to like where Organic Botanic.
The women's shoes. That's how me and Christian actually met. I used to lifeguard, and me and Christian were working at the same pool, and we just we would be the dudes. We'd be hanging out after work and shit. Friday night, we'd go out, go have our time, get down. But we were started a friendship. It just grew ever since, and we've been friends like 7-8 years now.
Well, then who approached who about hey, we should do this? Who approached who started this thing?
What
so
the friendship
or no, not the friendship. So you're friends, and I get that. I've been friends with other people, but when you decide to say I want to get into this business, and I know Mason, I met you through the Cleveland School of Cannabis, but you want to get into, even then, who was the first person to say, I think we should do this?
So
definitely Mason.
Yeah, no, it was me. So to give you the rundown of how it went down, I was using CBD products. I was using a lot of cannabis. It was helping me personally with my Crohn's disease. And I was preaching that to everyone because cannabis was starting to become more recognized as an alternative to get off prescription pills and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people knew me as the guy who was educated on cannabis because I went to the school. So like people would always come to me and like ask me all types of questions, or if like one of their loved ones or a friend had a question for it, they would come straight to me and ask me. So then that's when I really started to realize, I was like, okay, I like to help people. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to provide people the right insight so they could find something that could potentially help them like it helps me. And so one day I was just like, yo, like Christian, like we got to start a hemp brand, dude. Like we can't get right into cannabis, but like CBD, like there's a jump, like we could do it, dude. Like I use the oil personally, like, and he saw it, like he knew, because like I would like miss a ton of work because I would feel sick. Like I couldn't physically go to work because my Crohn's was like stopping me. But then I started to use cannabis more, and like he could tell that like I was feeling better. So like he really saw hands-on like how the product was truly helping me. And I think that's kind of what like made him realize like, yo, like there's potential. So
yeah, I remember I was over his house one day and he was like talking how he's diagnosed with Crohn's, and he was like, oh, I got to be on like 12 pills. And his mom was like, yeah, tell him to take his pills already. And I'm like, all right. And then he kept smoking, and then every day he just was like, I feel better every day. And I was like, all right, I mean, if you feel better, why not?
No, I was not doing that.
Yeah.
They wanted to put me on pills that were gonna like make my face swell. The symptom was like called moon face, because like before that, when they didn't even know I had Crohn's, they put me through all types of things.
Yeah,
so,
I bet they're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I was on ulcer medication. They tried to tell me it was anxiety.
Wow.
They even tried to tell me I had cannabis hypermesis syndrome, where you're like allergic to weed or whatever. I'm not familiar with that.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty familiar with CHS. I actually know someone.
Like, tolerate it. I was like, no. So I actually stopped using cannabis for 6 months at one point, and nothing changed. I only felt worse, and I was just taking like ulcer meds and stuff like this because that's what they said what was going on. And nope. Wow. Then I just took it upon myself and just started doing what was working for me. So I truly didn't understand it at first, but then like once I went to the school and like took the course on the endocannabinoids.
Yeah, because you went through the medicinal program, right?
Yeah, that's why I chose to go there. It was more personal for me. I didn't know I was going to like start a business out of it. It was just me learning why something was helping me that was always looked down upon, you know?
Every business needs the why, and it's, you know, it could be it affecting someone, you know, a family member, you know, or yourself in this case. But when it comes to actually starting the business, we talked about it with the convention of that duality of like how the both of you are, that your both dynamics are what make this business grow, you know? And it's like you understanding your friends why and you personally experiencing it gives you that foundation to kind of connect to your customers right from the beginning.
Absolutely.
But at the same point, could you ever have imagined starting the business by yourselves? You know, if each of you were not doing this as a friendship, would you have, oh my gosh, I got this fly that this is the third show. This one fly keeps fucking with me. Wow. We're going to keep it together.
Yeah, so, please.
In certain degrees, you know, like I couldn't ever imagine starting a business without a partner. I couldn't imagine having someone there during those lowest points when you're at the trade show, that very first one, and you're like, we don't even know what the fuck we're doing right now. You're able to look over at your friend and be like, I'm really glad you're here next to me, man. Like, I'm extremely thankful for that.
Yeah, like definitely. Yeah, like last October, actually October 1st. So coming up on like 1 year here in like 2 days. That was when we did our first show ever. It was at the Ohio Marijuana Expo at Summit County Fairgrounds. And I remember we had a CBD topical, a CBD vape cartridge, a CBD tincture, and a singular strain for Delta 8. It was headband. Okay. And so we showed up to the trade show, 4 products, a banner, like the absolute white tablecloth, the absolute bare minimum. Like I didn't know what to expect.
We had nothing.
I've never been to a cannabis event like that in my life. I did not know what to expect. So we walk in there, I see all these bigger companies light up signs. The company next to me's got a joint machine where they're filling joints. I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is big time. We got to step it up. So, but we didn't know, so we had to learn. So I mean, we've definitely learned. Some events have been busts, some events have been phenomenal. It's just hit or miss. It's hustle and a grind. You just got to get out there.
Yeah, we definitely show up to that first event with like the whole startup look. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
You could, yeah.
You knew we were new.
You knew, yeah.
We were the new kids on the block. You could tell.
We pulled, when I first opened the shop in Halables, we literally pulled cases out of a dumpster behind an Acme, and that's what we used inside the store. And it had like no glass on the top, and we used the shittiest plywood. And like, you were walking down, we set up the store in the back of this like office. It actually was this like, I think he filmed the fetish shit because
wow, oh my lord, this took a turn. Took a turn. I did not expect.
I have to get this out. Someone has to know this because for 7 years this has been bottling me up. I think that the guy who rented this space before me did some type of fetish stuff, and I say that because he rented the place for 7 years, and the landlord had only ever saw him twice. The guy shows up at like midnight and filmed for a church in Texas till like 4 a.m.
Oh, come
I swear. And so let me continue this. He soundproofed the ceiling for filming. Okay. And when I walked into this building the first time, it smelled like fucking sex and feet. And so the first like week and a half of getting the store ready was like getting the smell out of the store. So to continue this and finish this off, we were open. Again, pulled cases out of the dumpster, did everything. You had to walk down this most ridiculous like office hallway to get to the end. It looked creepy to go back and buy from us the very first like couple months. Wow. But we were open till like 11 o'clock or midnight or something. It was like 10 a.m. to midnight. It was long days. And one guy walks in at like 11:50 and he's walking around the store real creepy like. And in my head, I'm like, this dude is some fetish guy. I know it. The next thing this guy says to me is, I used to rent this building before here. And like, and it was just instantly like alarm bells were going off. Like, yes, you did. I know you did. Fucking like, either way. Just, I remember that first couple weeks and months of not having anything, not knowing what the hell your competition has $100,000.
What you don't know
cases, let alone product. And you're like, I don't even, yeah, exactly. I don't even know what I don't know, you know? And so
it was definitely, it was a learning process. And especially like with cannabis, like I'm sure you guys know, like there's always the next big thing or new thing coming out. Like you always think you're ahead when somebody's right behind you or somebody's already doing it. Like, it's crazy. Like it really like it is. There's no other word to describe it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So how did you guys end up figuring out, like, you want to start a CBD hemp company, which sounds great on paper, right? It's like, oh, I want to do this. And Chris's like, sure, we'll do that, man. That sounds fun. Fist bump. Like, let's make a company. How do you start to figure out then, like, what do we do? Right. And I think to Dustin's point, everyone gets comfortable. They want to find a partnership to kind of start with, friends, family, maybe a stranger. But the hard part is, all right, we got a great idea. Now we got to do it, right? We got to start to do it. So how did you like have these long conversations? You just throw darts at the board? Do you take marketing? Like, what did you kind of do, and how have you roles like grown in the last year?
So what we did was when we decided, okay, yeah, we want to do a hemp company. We want to do a CBD company. Everyone does, or CBD is common. Not everyone does CBD, but it's very common. So like you see it everywhere, like Whole Foods has it, Fresh Time, literally everywhere, right? So what I wanted to do different about us was I wanted all of our products to be like grown, packaged, and processed in Ohio. So that's how I figured, okay, we can market ourselves local. So we're like, okay, everything is grown in Ohio, packaged, processed in Ohio. That's what we can use to push. People like to support local. And that's how we used it to differentiate ourselves, is by just like kind of sticking with the local thing. Like we're some local guys.
Yeah, a lot of the startup stuff Mason did, because I was welding while we were starting it up. I remember I wasn't like fully into it. I was like, yeah, we can do the company, but how are we gonna start this?
Women's shoe sales and welding. That's fucking awesome.
Well,
right?
I mean, like the truth is that didn't mean that didn't mean you had less difficult weeks for yourself. Just because you were doing welding, it meant that you were now doing something 7 days a week with no off.
Yeah.
When you stopped welding, then you went into Organic Botanic. And so, you know, like my partner did the same thing. And you can't ever say, well, I'm working this business by myself. It's like, no, there's a process to that. And you gave a lot to it. Small business has a lot of different hats you wear during the day. It's like this hour, I'm a marketing guy. The next hour, I have to think about distribution. The next hour, I got to think about how we do our sales at these conventions. What hats do you guys wear now for yourselves? Like, I know it changes often, but you both now know what you're each good at. So like, what are you guys walking into in the next year or so together?
So I would say, like, for myself, the things I'm good at is I'm always like reaching out to like people in the industry to figure out like, yo, where's the next event we can go to, like where everyone like cannabis basically is going to be there. So staying in touch with people like that, taking care of emails, doing orders, running orders, shipping out orders, stuff like that. I would say Christian does most of like the website designs,
technical stuff. Yeah. Like as of recent, with all like the orders and like product, like we're making products, trying to get labels shipped. That's like a whole like 50-50 between us. Cause but like he definitely like talks to business a lot more. Like that's all he does. Like I barely touch like the whole business to business side. I get so much anxiety talking to people. I'm like,
I'm on the phone all day. I'm like, okay, here.
That's all right. Yeah, you're just taking advantage of your skill sets.
That's exactly it.
How things work, though, because for example, I can't do. I'm not gonna swear. I can't do anything on the computer.
You can swear. No one's listening. Who the fuck cares?
For the website shit, like that is not me. I'm not tech savvy. Like plugins, like coding, all that.
Nice.
Like
I am not at all. That's what Dustin does. He's my.
Dude, I can do sales. That's what I do. It's like
the past like 3 weeks we're making our whole website like from scratch, and I was like learning custom CSS so I could format the HTML code, and then I had to learn this whole plugin for WordPress, and I was like, this is so much work, and I'm trying to get done within like a week.
But
that's great though.
You know, like people don't understand. They think about it and they're like, we can get this thing up, but it's a 10,000 hour working tool.
Right.
It'll take you a year to really grow into it and know yourselves with it. And so like, I actually checked out the new website and I love it. I love the branding. I like the direction you're going. I like the way you present yourself in Ohio, you know, like when I think about starting even any company in Ohio that deals with the cannabis industry, I'm like, Ohio's the last place I would ever want to start. It's everywhere down the line. They're jerks. And so, and you don't have to say it. I'm saying it, you know? And so like, it's one of those things where it almost seems purposely more difficult in Ohio. And the fact that you're taking on that responsibility and that pushing forward during that here, to me also means as you guys scale and expand outward, I can't wait for you to enter into some of these other industries where they're just like, Organic Botanic, we love you. Signing off on it. 25 minutes, get in and out, and you're done. Right. And it's gonna to go through the war now when you are so young and everything is so new. I think you guys are going to go really far really quickly, especially together. So I'm pretty stoked for you guys.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword though. Like I think we got at the right time because Ohio is so far behind in cannabis, but it's also bad because Ohio is so far behind in cannabis, you know?
Yeah, they're definitely behind.
This show is almost called Wayward Weed. I have this whole Wayward branding thing we've kind of developed with Wayward Media and Wayward Planet. So Wayward Weed like made sense, but I wanted to stay away from like the weed connotation. And after a back and forth and thing, Dustin and I settled on, you know, because cannabis. Did you have an original name for inhalables, Dustin? I feel like we've asked you this before, but of course.
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, honestly, the original name Inhalables was a creation between me and two other people. And then when it came time to actually start the company, they didn't really want to do it. So I took it that. And then I went back to my partner who had been partners with me for 8 years and other various things. And I had said, listen, here's something I have here. Let's also mull around some other names for companies. And at the end of the day, after a week and a half and 150 names, we ended back on inhalables. And a lot of it dealt with, if I could breach the misspelling with people, I was going to guarantee certain search results. And also when they were saying it wrong, like in Hables, they didn't know what the hell we did. They thought that we were
someone asked me if in Hables I had a shirt and they said, is that a Mexican restaurant in Hables?
Yes.
I'm like,
and it's like, yes, we are.
Inhalables, like inhale. They're like, oh.
But for us,
that was a real story.
Out and you're trying to convince a city to like you being there. You don't want problems, especially the first couple years. You want the city to be like, they've been there for 5 years and not one issue, So those first 2 years, we enjoyed that the misnaming of our shop in that capacity. That was just like an extra benefit. I've known head shops to open up, and within a week, picket signs and moms are outside like, we don't smoke, you don't smoke, shutting down the shop.
Is that what they say at pickets?
No, well, moms, they're more like.
That's what they, here's why I asked, because Organic Botanic, which is both fun to say and difficult as an announcer if you're going to say it again and again. ShopOrganicBotanic.com, by the way. That's that awesome website. It'll be in the comments below. You can find ShopOrganicBotanic.com to go to Mason and Christian, support them, support Ohio people. But Organic Botanic, it's fun to say, rolls off the tongue. I am curious, though, on the workshopping stage. Like, is this something that, did you have an epiphany? Were you super high on the toilet? Or was it like 16 different names that you settled on and you're like, this is it? Like, it's such a fun name. I need to know its origin.
Yeah, so honestly, I had an epiphany. So like I said in the beginning, I was like, okay, Ohio based. That's what we want to do. Hence, that's how we got the OB. Okay.
So, Ohio based, though the OB started for Ohio.
I'm over here high as a kite. Yeah. And I'm
right.
just thinking to myself, I'm drawing on a note card. I'm like, what can I do? OB. And then I'm adding like little weed leaves to it. And then I'm thinking of like, I'm putting the OB next to each other. I'm putting it underneath. I'm putting it side by side. I'm seeing what looks good. I probably sent like 50 of them to Christian.
Yeah.
I probably still have them on my old computer.
I remember he was making it.
But
we were like checking like Organic Botanic like online. There was like, I think it was like Botanic Organic or something. I was like, oh, what if they like try claiming our name? He's like, I don't care. I got 50 other names. I'm like, all right.
So yeah, that's how the OB Foundation kind of started. And then I was looking at other like dispensary brands for like inspiration. I was seeing like, oh, like people put like a circle around their logo or something. So I was like, let me put the OB in the circle and then I add the leaves. And then I kind of like just got it. It kind of just looked like a little circle button. I'm like, okay. I was like, we'll roll with this. Like, we'll see where it gets us. And then, now we're doing something different, totally still with the OB, with the exotics line, which we'll get into. And that's where we're going to have like a little bit more fun with it. So
how many people like have you had any, because there is a few other botanic things. Did you have any like trademark issues? Have you got into any of that stuff, or you just
have not had any issues? Nope.
Yeah,
the only thing we
knock on
we wish we could get organicbotanic.com. That one was taken.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah,
so that's why we went with the Shop Organic.
I like Shop Organic. It's a fun way. It doesn't really throw it off, and it still flows. Like ShopOrganicBotanic.com, and it kind of. It's like something you'd say at the end of a commercial. Shop Organic. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to say. ShopOrganicBotanic.com.
Long, but yeah, like that's why we try to just include a QR code on all of our products.
They've bookmarked it by now. Come on, people.
Business cards. We have QR codes on there, so even if you don't want to type in the website, like the QR code's so big, you just pull up the QR code. You can see everything, lab results per product, per batch. So it's
that's the only thing with the website. Like we were gonna do, I think, organicbotanicinc.com, but typing that in is a nightmare for your eyes because like so many I's, so many N's. Like I was like, okay, we can't do that. I mean, it's still like when I type in Shop Organic Botanic, organic and botanic kind of merge into one word for me. So I'm like, okay.
But true story. The first time I emailed you, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. Your email address is like Organic Botanic Inc. I emailed you and I misspelled it, and I got someone. They're like, "This is the third email. It's not them, or I'm not them." I was like, "Oh," and I had to go back. But the Organic Botanic and then another I and C after Botanic is it kind of messes with your brain. You're like, how many I's and N's are C's? So
Yeah, I know.
I just have saved your email, but I think I emailed you twice. Like various people who are like, oh my God, I don't have any weed. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
that's what I felt like.
They're probably like, man, who are these guys?
Who are these guys that someone's really trying to get a hold of? So you started with a few hemp products. You started with a few CBD products. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about expansion. I know you just teased a little bit OB Exotics. That's something that you guys are rolling out today. Debuted on our show, Dustin. So you've been expanding. So what has that been like? You know, both Dustin's been through this. You obviously start in the back of a fetish place, going into this beautiful establishment with your glass cases. Dustin, what has it been like for you guys? You had a few products. Why the growth, or what reasons did you kind of decide which categories? And now you got gummies, you got carts, which categories to focus on? What was that kind of based on in this past year, and then leading into OB Exotics?
Well, when we first wanted to expand, it was after the first trade show. We were like, okay, we have 4 products and everyone around us has like 20, 30. Yeah. I'm like, what are we going to do? We were freaking out that first trade show because we were like so out of place. We were like, we can't make it in this. We only have 4 products. Everyone around us is way ahead of us.
They got all their fancy cases and display setups.
No, it was over.
You just got shit on a table.
Yeah. So then, that's when I knew. I was like, okay, I want to do something with gummies. So we got into gummies. The first gummy product we ever ran were gummy bears. There were a 5-pack. They were 50 milligrams, and there were a mixed fruit pack. So there was a red bear, orange, yellow, green, and blue. So strawberry, green apple, lemon, orange, and then blueberry. It was so long ago, I barely even remember.
Yeah, whatever blue flavor is.
Bears.
Yeah, they were broad spectrum CBD gummies though.
Yeah.
And we sold those for a little bit, and then I realized this isn't what I want to do. I want to do something totally different.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So then that's when we started getting into like different flavors further down the line. So then now we have like watermelon, which are formulated for the daytime. We have blue raspberry, which are formulated for the nighttime. We've got our wild berry lemonade, which are a high dose gummy. So those have the 10 milligrams of Delta 9 plus the 90 milligrams CBD. So that was more of the approach that I was looking to go. Like the gummy bears were cool and all, but I knew that those would never get on like a dispensary shelf or something like that. So that's why we decided to go with like the normal square or circle shaped gummy. And then it's infused as just like a normal flavor, 10 count, or you can even mix the flavors, do a 20 count like we do for our Delta 8. But
yeah, we definitely saw that the gummies and the vapes sold wildly better than any other product. Like the tincture and freeze gel, they sell, but it's more niche than like a gummy or.
You have it just to have a few other categories, but really you've been all in on carts and gummies, it seems like.
Yeah. Carts and gummies is our main seller.
You can do so much with gummies. You can make broad spectrum, full spectrum. You can do like 10-1, 5-1. You can do anything you want with them.
1-1. There's so much.
Yeah, you could really cater to whoever you're talking to.
There's something for everybody.
Like
try to do.
Like for example, like a 10-1 gummy is more niche than like a just regular get high gummy, but with
then
gummies,
10, just no CBD.
Yeah, you can cater to people that already like gummies. Like, oh, try this kind because it's a gummy. You might like the effects. Right. You know.
Yeah. Are we ready to talk? I want to hear about OB Exotics.
Well, I think it's that you have this line. You have Organic Botanic, so you have this OB Exotic, which is exotics. Is that that's good proper branding?
Let me break it down for you. So, like I said in the beginning, we only had 4 products, right? And when we started the brand, we only really had intention of running CBD products. Yeah. Like Delta 8 was this new thing. I never even tried it, never heard of it, and then I came across it one day, tried it from another local brand. Actually, I'll tell you, shout out Chagrin Valley Hemp Company. I tried one of
Love them. Swear by them.
Yeah, we'll totally shout out Chagrin Valley Hemp Company. All day, check them out. Chagrin Valley Hemp Company.
He tried that. And he was like, hey, try Chagrin Valley Hemp stuff. I was like, okay. So I went to the vape shop and I got like 2 of them. They were like 35 or something. I was like, this is awesome. Like, I don't think it's street stuff anymore. I can get actual legal stuff.
But yeah, no, I tried that and I'm like, okay, this stuff's actually like good. It has potential because I was hearing all about it. I was seeing it everywhere, YouTube.
And you want to make sure it's not like the K2 shit or the spice or like it's weird. No one really understood it, especially early on.
And again, what stuck out with them is I was like, this is really the first brand in Ohio that I'm seeing that's running this. So I'm like, okay, let me see what's up with it. So
a lot of the brands,
I tried it and then really good. So
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the brands in the shops are like all these giant conglomerates that are from like Cali, and like I was like, okay. So Mason told me about Sugar Valley hemp, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I think that was my first time trying Delta 8, and I was like, this is awesome. Because prior to that, I stopped smoking for like a year because I had a massive panic attack, and I was like, okay, I can't do weed anymore. I'm done with it. Like it scarred me. And so Mason told me about Delta 8, and I was like, okay, I'll try it because I heard it's like a lot more mellow. And that's what got me back on the cannabis, because I was running this business and not smoking anything. I was like, I have to start trying something.
You're feeling guilty, almost like an imposter.
Wow.
It's in the glass industry, it's very real. It's like, I make pipes, but I don't smoke anymore. So, you know, so yes, I totally get it. That's really funny. And that to me is not necessarily like it's a legal way to get stoned. It's really that's the place for it in the industry. And at the same point, I noticed a cost effectiveness for my CBD patients from the store that was just crazy full. That the Delta 8, they would spend 25% of what they were spending monthly by switching to the Delta 8.
Right.
And so like it was amazing. It was actually, to me, it changed my perception of it, and Chagrin Valley changed my perception of it personally, you know? So I'm right there with you.
Can I tell you, Chagrin Valley was also my first Delta 8 experience.
Yeah,
and I've had other stuff. I've had that conglomerate stuff. You go to some of the more chainy style head shops and you get, some of it's okay. I look for QR codes. I look for test results. We'll give a shout out to 3Chi. I know a competitor, but they're pretty good. There are some,
3Chi
if it just looks
made the game.
Yeah, overly branded, it kind of gets to a thing. So you have that, but why not just keep it all organic botanic? Like I'm curious, just when you start to launch this new brand. So OB Exotics is what now? It's going to be your Delta 8
so
line?
OB Exotics is what we're going to be rebranding all of our like Delta 8 products under. We're
all
also
like recreational ones.
We're also we're doing a collab with Alex from Plant Puff.
Oh, Alex Huska, one of our past episodes.
Yeah,
I'll have to put that link in there.
Disposables. So
he makes the best disposable on the planet, by the way.
We chose the designs, worked with his graphic designer, got the designs out, got a few flavors in the works, ran them through, saw how they were.
Understands you guys. Like, Alex going through it himself is the perfect person for you to partner with this early on. And a couple hours or a couple sit downs with Alex, and you already are going to be a lot further. There's not going to be so much trial and error when it comes to a lot of shit that can cost a lot of money when things go wrong.
Right. Alex is definitely he's got a lot of inspiration for sure, because I mean, he's been doing it for I think 5-6 years now. Like, he's been doing it since the start. So like, he knows what could go wrong, like what not to do, or like what to prevent happening, because he's done it already. So like, we're definitely grateful for that, because like you said,
the strategic partnership is super special there. OB Exotics is now your Delta brand now. So are you now selling within Ohio with that?
So that's what we're still like. We just got our gummies rolled out like back in May of this year. So we're just got like products rolling. Like I said, we got the disposables dropping here next week with everything rebranded. So now it's really time to like crank up the speed.
So what's that going to be like then? Let's work through that, like literally on the air here. So you're going to try to ramp up distribution, right? And how is this work? Are you doing a lot of this yourself? I'm just kind of behind the scenes. Like, what's this process like? How much growth can you have without getting into total third-party stuff, getting machinery? Like, where are you at right now with that?
So yeah, our main goal is we right now we're just the online store, right? So we're we have our products in a few stores. I think we're only in like 2 or 3 right now, but we want to get in all the shops around Ohio. I mean, every corner you look, we see a smoke shop or a vape shop, and then they're all selling CBD, Delta 8, THCO, HHC, like all these cannabinoids, because they know that people are coming to buy them.
But how do you do that, Dustin? Like, how do you get in the head shop? Like, do you just have to hoof it? Do you guys got to go store to store and shake hands?
You just got to go door to door, basically walk in. I mean, I go in the stores and I'm like, hi, my name's Mason. I'm like, is the owner in? I try to get directly to the owner.
Yeah.
The owner's not in. I'm like, okay. I'm like, when will the owner be in? Follow up. get in touch with the owner, and I just go straight to the owner and I just tell them who I am, what I do, and I just get straight to it. I'm like, we're a local brand out of Ohio. We got gummies, vape carts, all of our stuff's processed in a licensed facility, packaged, manufactured there. We do third-party lab testing, so we go the extra step to make sure that the product's safe for the consumer, even though it's not required. So like we just give them the whole rundown, and then I'm like, can I send you over a price guide so we can hopefully get some stuff on your shelves? Start them at a minimum order quantity of 10 units per product. And then if they sell, then come back end of the month, order more. Maybe you'll get 20 this time or 30. So that's what we want to do. We want to start ramping up our wholesale and getting to.
That's some awesome grassroots, man. That's just doing it like,
Well, yeah. And I mean, honestly, like some of my suggestions almost are like, lead away from the chains right now. So if you see they have more than 7 or 8, I would lead away, partially because of pricing that they're going to demand and the fact that you'll never get a hold of the owner. The secondary thing is start not just asking the employees where the owner is, like, how do I get in contact with the owner? It's like, at what time does he actually make his purchases? Because I have shops, like when we would have certain times that we would beg them to come in, because it's like, we have a shit ton of customers. So it's like, if you could show up the 30 minutes before we opened, we're going to do a shit ton more business than if you showed up at 5 o'clock in rush hour when I have 100 people in line, you know? The secondary thing is like getting in with the employee. The employee is going to be the one who ends up selling this shit. They're the one that the word of mouth, and who they have all these other brands to talk about. And so if they like you, they're going to pick up you before they pick up some other brand. Right. So it's like, even if you can't get a hold of the owner, sometimes it's like, let me slip one of these to the guy behind the counter and be like, yo, man, why don't you smack this, have this, smack it back while you're working here today. And they'll end up being the ones that somehow breach the owners. So it's like, even if the owner's not there, your elevator pitch and a sample or two might make all the difference when it comes to that guy.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, that's exactly what we're about to start getting into. It's just with timing and everything, and like luckily now's the time. So
I'm proud of you guys. It's not easy being turned down all the time.
You're gonna get some yeses. You're gonna get a lot more no's though, and like it is what it is. It's like, and that's what I tell Christian. I'm like, dude, don't get discouraged. Like, they're gonna say no. All right, next one.
Christian looks like he's been. Christian looks like he's got a little PTSD from. He's got a little denial PTSD.
Like as of like 2 months ago, we started like really pushing the wholesale, because we were like really heavily into business consumer, like people we knew, people that they knew, like that, like direct sales, and then online as well. But when we first started like doing wholesale, I was on vacation in Michigan and I was high as fuck the entire time. But I had to call, I think I called like 15 shops there to follow up.
And more than that, probably like 30.
Yeah. But I think everyone but 2 said no. And then the 2 that said yes just never followed back. And I was like, okay, it's a losing game no matter what. I just have to keep calling them.
Yeah, like, and that's what it is. I told him, I'm like, dude, I'm like, even if they say yes, I'm like, I mean, it's taken me personally. I'm like, I've had to go to the shop, show the owner the stuff. He's like, he's like, send me over the price guide. He's like, yeah, I had to follow up on the phone, be like, hey, did you get a chance to look over the price guide yet? Hasn't got another chance to look it over. Call him again. I'm like, hey.
And don't feel offended by that. It's
I know. Busy, I'm like, hey, I didn't mean to keep bugging you, man. I'm like, but did you get a chance to look that over? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'll look at it right now. Then he gets back to me finally. I want to place an order, places the order. And then that's what I tell Christian. I'm like, dude, sometimes you got to just call these guys like 4 or 5 times. So
I feel like I'm nagging them.
Even if they, I mean, that's what you got to do.
But 300 no's could lead to a customer that does business with you for 5-10 years. And, that first order may only be $200.
Right.
But in 3 to 5 years, it's a $5,000 order. And it's amazing when you grow with someone else as well. And you see that. So it's like, yes, get the doors slammed in your face so many of these times, man. Cause I promise a couple of those ones are going to make your entire year. And it'll put it in perspective.
I hate
It
it. Like,
sucks.
I'm with
There's
Christian. Like,
nothing
I,
worse.
It's
I'm pretty
definitely hard
good.
it's definitely not for everyone. Like, it can beat you down. Like, if you're not prepared to take
Yes.
no for an answer, and like you're just like, oh, or even if you just can't take rejection, like you have to be able to get rejected because
Yeah,
It's a skill set, but it still sucks balls.
yeah,
It
it
still
sucks. Yeah,
sucks.
it does suck. Yeah, I'm
it
telling you, it
sucks
does.
so
Yeah.
much. I remember I was calling a shop. I forgot which shop it was, but they were like, "Oh yeah, we're interested." And this was my third time calling them. And I was like, I just woke up in Michigan, and I called them. And I was like, "All right, so did we agree? Like, I sent you a price guide because I remember you asked me like, oh, did you send a price guide over to them?" I was like, "Yeah, I sent it twice." And so I called them, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not interested anymore." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I wanted to like yell so much. I was like, "F you guys," but then
It was an hour of my time, and I'm on vacation, dick.
It is something. You're right, Christian. Though you have to like not let it. You have to not take it personal, and you have to not worry that you're bugging them. To Dustin's point, like you may be or not, but you just have to set. And it's hard for me sometimes to step outside of my personal. Like I would be annoyed at this. You just have to keep pushing and pushing, and they're going to eventually stop replying or whatever, or eventually sign back up. Or sometimes it is like, man, sorry, I've been like personal life catches. Last week I had some personal life stuff going on. I missed a show. Like things happen. You just got to catch back up when you can. So sometimes that's the case. So resilience paid off despite
that's usually what it is.
Sucks.
Owners are busy because they're short staffed.
Yeah, I remember like calling them being like, I would hate to be called right now. Like I put it in my mindset, which I can't because like I'm annoyed by everything. So I can't be like, can't call anyone.
I love it. There's a beauty in that. And it's one of those things that when you're not doing it anymore, you're going in some capacity to not necessarily miss it, but it's going to keep you in some way respecting what you went through. It's like this thing that it never leaves you. You will never forget all those calls, you know, and to me, it kept me going. It reminded me of like, yes, one customer a day over 14 hours for 8 months. And that was a hard thing. You're staring at the door, like, come in.
Right,
and no one shows
up. That's why
up.
like people frame that dollar bill though. Like it's something that I made a bunch of dollar bills, but the pain in the ass and the struggle to earn that first one, it feels like, yeah, I should reward that, despite however many millions or whatever you make afterwards. There's something about the trials and going through it and the scar tissue you build up to like succeed at the end that just feels rewarding.
Right, and that's what it is. Like you have to build it up because like it's not just going to be given to you, you know.
Yeah. When is the new line going to be available to the public?
So right now we have some 2-packs out, like for our Delta 8 gummies, 50 milligram pack, 25 milligram per gummy. They're not on the site yet. We're going to have them on there here soon.
Yeah, they're right here.
Look at that. That's a cute little.
Disposables are dropping next week though. So next week we tried to get them out before this weekend for the summit. Just it wasn't happening. It's out of our control is what it is, but
you can still take orders on it.
Yes, you'll be able to promote it and say, look, basically you're like this record release date, like coming Tuesday or whatever. Like you're going to be able to go to shoporganicbotanic.com.
2-packs of gummies too. So like everyone loves little gummies, $5 a pop. So
that's a good price. I'll probably have to buy one from you this weekend. So you got the disposables coming out. Do you guys have like ambitions of adult use? Are you eyeballing this market at all, or do you think you're staying CBD?
Absolutely.
Like where do you at right now with your, it's kind of, we got about 10 minutes here where like in your future, where do you guys think you're going? I mean, besides you're hustling now, but where do you pretend to see yourself?
Definitely we want to get into either the rec or the medical market. That's the goal. Obviously you guys know how Ohio is. Everything's always changing. Laws suck here. So we're just waiting for the right time in a matter of time, because doing it with hemp and doing it with cannabis is very similar. So
that's kind of like why we differentiated the brands, because we noticed that with our like Organic Botanic products, like the tincture and the freeze gel, is like more of an older or active audience.
Sure.
So we want to market like the full spectrum of the broad spectrum CBD stuff towards like stores like Heinen's, Giant Eagle, like the mass market, while we're trying to make OB Exotics like the recreational, like get high, like this enjoy brand. That's what we're gonna probably push with like rec when it becomes rec. We're gonna push.
So you
OB
think you'd
exotic.
shoehorn OB exotics into like an adult use market if you had
That's
the
what
like
we're
chance right
planning
now?
on in the long run. That's the long-term goal for sure.
Dude,
Yeah.
and it's amazing to have that different voice you get to talk into. You know, Organic Botanic and any one brand can limit how you can have this conversation in
Right.
certain
Mhm.
capacities. And so that freedom of like, no, we're creating a whole new line, and this line
Right.
gives me this new voice where
Right.
I can
100%.
instill.
Exactly.
It's pretty awesome. I haven't. Inhalables didn't really get to have that presence. We always were speaking in a certain voice. And there's a part of me that's a little bit jealous. That's like certain parts of your day, you get to have this other personality that
Yeah,
gets
no,
to
literally,
out
that's
some
what
way.
it is. Like the Organic Botanic line of products now, like all of our CBD gummies, topicals, the tinctures, we want those to be targeted for like your daily wellness goals. Like
Mhm.
you want to be able to use those throughout the day. While then, like the OB Exotics products, you could still use those for your wellness goals, right? If you choose to, but those are more targeted for like a rec product. Like you're going to get high, like 100%. Not that you're not getting high, like in a medical sense too, but you're choosing how you use that product. Like you're not getting high off of a product intended to be used for like your wellness, you know?
Yeah, it was hard because I felt limited by Organic Botanic because I was like, okay, like the name's good, but it only works for like this niche audience that like
Right.
is for wellness goals, wants to use CBD in their daily life. And I was like, how can we push disposable vapes as an organic
Right.
botanic?
It
You know, like
didn't feel right. Like, cause like I said in the beginning, when we were just initially going to do CBD and had no intentions of doing the Delta, it didn't feel right. Like to just have all these products branded under Organic Botanic that are Delta 8 products. That's why I was like, okay, I was like, let's do something different with it. We could have a little bit more fun with it. Like we're doing merch with it too. So like we'll have like hoodies, shirts, bags, hats, like there's all kinds of fun stuff we can do with it.
Yeah, this is our new look. So the OB Exotics, you got kind of the drip on the Exotics
Yeah,
font thing
that's
within the OB, and then you have kind of the highlighted stuff there. But then both sites, both logos, the Organic Botanic, which now if you look at those two, Dustin, if I'm really like, you can see the more, I think, holistic kind of vibe that the original Organic Botanic does on top of each other. But then the OB Exotics does say like, get a little high, right? Like get a little fun.
that's exactly what we're going for.
I'm glad the website worked on that.
I'm glad you can see the vision too. Like that's awesome because that's exactly how we're trying to portray it.
Now it feels. Do you guys you had pretty good success? Like right now, would you say your online presence is pretty good? Is that where most of your orders come from?
We have a decent online presence, but I would say majority of our sales come from like people we know or like friends of friends. Like we do amazing with word of mouth. So a lot of our loyal customers just spread the hell out of the word, and like we're so lucky for that. Like it's insane. Like one person's voice could then turn into 10 people's voice, which then turns into 20 to 30 people's voice.
Yeah.
And the power behind that is just like amazing.
Yeah, the website, it does fine, but I still need to like recreate our Google account because like one time we got banned from Google for having THC under our bio, and we had to redo all that. So I still have to redo all that for like OB Exotics.
Yeah, we were banned on Google for like 3-4 months last year.
I was going to ask you some of these. So now you have these products and you send them through the mail, and I'm always curious. You don't send flour. I don't think you do any flour,
Yeah,
but
no.
still you're sending.
The website. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, the website was kind of a nightmare because I had to make it scale to every monitor. It's called responsiveness. So I'm glad it works right here because I haven't tested on like every single screen yet.
Oh, nice. So this is, I have like a large, like 22-inch
So
monitor.
yeah, here's
that
what
we're
you're
running this
looking
on.
at. These are a few of the new strains that we have coming out with the disposables. So we're gonna have Tropicana cookies, pineapple mimosa for the sativas. The mimosa cartridge is gonna be rebranded under the OB Exotics line.
I have that right now.
Yeah, and then we have the apple tarts. That's apple fritter crossed with runts. A little bit of fall vibes.
That is, I have not. I don't know if I've ever had apple runts before.
Grape runts. That's another good one. Grape ape with runts.
I literally have cherry pie in my pocket right now.
Yeah,
so the total shout out for that.
Yeah. How are you liking the cherry pie?
I like it. It's a pretty smooth taste. It's not as fruity, I think, as I initially pictured it. For example, the mimosa, which I had, was very citrusy, very fruity. Like you could really taste a lot of the different terpenes into there for that. So it was pretty nice. So yeah, Dustin, we're taking a look at some of the new strains that they have coming out and kind of QA testing Christian's work online. He's a little nervous because every page I go to, he's like, I don't know if that's going to scale right. I don't know what's happening, but it's all worked out so far.
I still need to fix some responsiveness issues, but yeah, it worked for the most part.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you guys, I honestly think you guys put so much thought into the branding, and the website is looking good. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk about any of the little things you don't know. We're going to get you there, man. But so far, the way you're able, again, it's a total different voice than Organic Botanics. It's like,
yeah, we're still updating this page 100%.
It's all right though. I'm just curious, once again, you have that kind of educational piece, the FAQs is it's just, it's put really together. I love, as we see kind of in this middle, we'll finish on here.
We're about to add a blog to the site. So we're going to start doing like weekly blog posts, stuff like that. Might start doing the trendy Terpene Tuesday that I'm sure you guys see everywhere.
Oh, Terpene Tuesday. Put some stuff out there.
Terps, yeah. So
are you guys active on the social game? I'm really slacking on ours sometimes.
Yeah, no, we have been for a while. We've been off of it for the last 2 months or so. Like I still check it here and there, but shadow banning, man, like it's crazy. Like we have close to almost 500 followers now on our business page, and we're getting like 15 story reviews when we post a product just because they see the words like Delta 8 or the symbol or something like that. And it's just like, it's hectic. That's why we try to get out here as much as we can with these local events. This way people can see where we are because we're restricted on social media.
There's a reason almost I can tell you this now is we talk about Cleveland School of Cannabis. It almost never says Cleveland School of Cannabis. It almost always says CSC.
I know, I caught that.
It's almost always CSC because it's hard to catch. The only time I do cannabis is a native post, like when I actually make a Facebook post on my account. But anything that's ads or emails or MailChimp stuff, all that junk is always CSC. Because it just works and it just doesn't get caught in all the things. And I don't even use hemp anymore. Hemp sometimes I feel
I know.
I just say the plant. I say the plant almost always because it just less chance of we're going through the same things. We just lost some accounts. We're doing different Instagrams because we keep getting banned for like silly reasons. There's people like smoking giant like pounds of it.
I know, they get thousands
they get thousands of views. I don't
put educational posts up and they're like,
or dude's smoking out of a slice of pizza crust or something, and it's getting thousands of views.
And somehow it works, but yet we talk about very normal, realistic, honest things. In fact, it was funny. I was all annoyed. Yeah, we fight back and forth on our YouTube channel with Dustin. I did not want to age restrict this show. I felt very hard that this should not be an age restricted show. We don't really get into too much adult stuff, but our shows, we'll do Break the Fourth Walls. We love. They kept getting dinged. We kept getting age restricted. We kept getting little warnings, email sent to us from YouTube for nothing, just other than the product name and description and cannabis and using those terms. So we started doing that. But I found it funny. We were on Pre-Roller. Shout out to Patrick, preroll-er.com, and to watch their videos, which is a packaging machine demonstration. It just happens to be packaging cannabis. It's the most boring technical video. I was age restricted. I'm like, they're age restricted too, even though it's literally showing what a $75,000 machine. It's nothing to do with it, but the product itself. It's the silliest thing I've ever saw.
Yeah, no,
YouTube is a weird beast.
They all are.
They all are.
I've definitely had 10,000 followers, and then we had our accounts get deleted, and it's like. That's why I'm like, your newsletter, this thing that you own, no one can tell you no. They have specifically signed up for it, like this direct connection, and then eventually start getting you guys into text responses and text message marketing. But yes, you guys, I'm proud of the way you're navigating the space because it's not easy. It's nuanced. It's heartbreaking at times, and it's also super, super fun and enjoyable, all in the same mix of shit. So
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm excited to have met you at this stage, right? I mean, Dustin and I are both two people that have come together, meeting him randomly at Inhalables and then kind of dragging him to watch a dank tank one time and then becoming this attraction over business ideas and startups and cannabis in those worlds. And now we do this together, but we love this aspect. And so when kind of meeting with you, and I've been asking you, I've had Mason and Christian out to the school to do events because I like your products and I like with the ethic you put into it. I like the brand behind it. And I'd rather support you. Obviously people like Chagrin Valley and Alex as well with Organic Plus and Whole Plant. Cause it feels good because you're just two dudes hustling, like doing your thing. There's no big conglomeration behind you. There's no multi-state operator. You're not the evil MSO. So it feels nice. And I think you've been really sincere. So I'm glad both of you, Mason and Christian, that you took a few moments of your day, right? 60 minutes out of your day to come chat with us here on Because Cannabis. Organic Botanic, say that 3 times fast and weed will appear. It's like Candyman, right? Organic Botanic. If you can manage to say it 5 times in 5 seconds, weed will appear at your doorstep. I'm not going to claim that, but allegedly. Let's say we use allegedly. That's what I heard. Try it real fast. Dustin, can you say Organic Botanic 5 times fast? Go.
Organic Botanic, Organic Botanic, Organic Botanic. No, I can't.
Mason, it's your company. Can you do it?
Organic Botanic, Organic Botanic, Organic Botanic, Organic Botanic, Organic Botanic.
He said it so many times. I think that's unfair though, because neither one of us have to answer the phone, have to call people.
Like I'm over here introducing myself, so here we are. We're Organic Botanic. I'm Mason.
You have to really enunciate it too to make sure it all gets out there. Organic Botanic, like you got to over enunciate it. It's like when I tell people that I love to play disc golf, you have to really say the ksk every time when I say disc golf, one of my favorite activities. I talk about it too much, but if you say disc golf, it just comes out really fast. So disc golf, Organic Botanic, you got to really enunciate that. It's shoporganicbotanic.com, shoporganicbotanic.com. Mason, Scott, Christian Palumbo, working it out there, fellas, just working it. I know we'll talk again, both in person, and I'm sure we'll have you back on the show. But I look forward to, what you guys are got going on, going on. Maybe someday we'll just be hawking your products on our show. That's what I hope we can do. Yeah. So shoporganicbotanic.com. Check out the new line, the OB Exotics, the disposables, the new Delta 8 gummies that are coming your way. Also the Organic Botanic line, obviously the full spectrum CBD, and then the tinctures and the freeze rub as well. They got some other products on there, a little bit for everyone. Shoporganicbotanic.com. It'll be in the comments below. Mason,
high dose gummies.
Christian, high dose gummies. That's what I'm talking about. So many things. I'm looking forward to the new line. Dustin, it was awesome to see you. Mason and Christian, thank you very much for taking time out of your day.
Not like an hour at all.
Yeah.
No, it didn't, right? I just realized. I was like, oh shit, we got to go. All right, fellas.
This was my first time talking on camera too. So I hope
you did great, guys. You guys did amazing. And you guys got to come back on
camera before, so sweet.
I know that we really would like you to come back on. There's always holiday specials and stuff that we do. So we're going to send you a couple links later on down the line.
All right, cool.
Sweet.
Okay, BC, you're out.
I know, I'm going. I was working on it. You guys needed 2 more seconds. All right, goodbye.